You're listening to another episode of Moon Monkey. On this episode, we're talking about The Little Stranger, directed by Lenny Abrahamson. It was based on a book by Sarah Waters. And you'll describe it now.
The film stars Domhnall Gleeson as Dr. Faraday and revolves around the story of this stately home. It's set in the late 1940s, 1950s, so it's just after the war, and it's the beginning of the National Health Service is not quite yet come in, but it's just about to come in. And it's really sort of a class warfare drama, I would say. I don't want to give too much away about the plot because there's a mystery running throughout that is sort of revealed at the end, but you're never quite sure which way it's going to go. So essentially, Dr. Faraday gets called to the house to treat the master of the house, who's a young man who's been badly burnt in the war, who used to be a fighter pilot. And as he's treating him, he discovers that he's going to sell some land off for houses to be built. And the guy gets sort of institutionalized because Dr. Faraday suggests that he might not be fully compos mentis. His younger sister, Caroline, who's played by Ruth Wilson, Dr. Faraday begins a relationship with her. And throughout the film, you get the sense that is Dr. Faraday trying to move in on this house or take over, and there's also a sort of ghost story running alongside as well because people think that the house is haunted. And throughout, there's flashbacks to Dr. Faraday as a child when he's talking about how much he loved this house, and you get the sense that he was very much an outsider. They're sort of the very wealthy, home-owning class at this time, and he was just a poor boy who's done well and become a doctor, and he's sort of on the rise because he's the doctor, he's got the expertise, and these sort of landed gentry types are declining because the house has fallen into disrepair. So it's sort of, you get the sense that post-war, it's a change of the status quo, perhaps. Things are changing at that time because you've got sort of I would say the intellectuals like doctors, lawyers are gaining personal fortunes of their own and sort of overtaking these landed gentry in a way.
I mean, if I could describe it, I would say spooky drama, because when I came out, that's what I thought. Very spooky. It's a spooky movie.
That's much more succinct than my explanation.
I mean, yeah, I did it in about 3 seconds. But, yeah, it has this kind of vibe throughout it, and it does. It's not like what you'd. I've heard people say like horror movie, and it's definitely not a horror movie because it has got, for a large portion of the movie, it's just like this class drama, and you've got Dr. Faraday trying to woo Ruth Wilson's character Caroline, and you don't know if it's for what reason. But for me, like to begin with, I felt like he genuinely had. Does he genuinely have feelings for her, or is he going after the house?
There are horror elements in the film,
but
it's not very mild horror.
It's not a horror movie. It's not a horror movie in any fashion for me.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how I would categorize it.
Spooky drama. I just have.
It's a whole new genre.
It is.
Spooky drama.
Does.
Yeah, the good thing about the film is I don't think it's giving too much away to say there's a sort of ghost story going on, because they mention that very early on, that people think that the house is haunted. But you're never quite sure whether that's like a literal or metaphorical haunting of the house.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot going on below the surface, which is about the class struggle, about cultural differences. So it's sort of a film that's very much about ideas as much as the action.
Yeah, if anything though, it's like what is like the spectre over the house? Is it the change after the war? Really, is probably what the whole ghostly thing is
that's hanging over this family,
and that's what's going on with them. But I mean, I think like the performances are amazing. I really like Domhnall Gleeson anyway, but the real star of it for me was like Ruth Wilson as Caroline, and the whole family and everything they're going through, and like the class thing, and how Domhnall Gleeson's become this from nothing to be this doctor, and as you say, but there's a bit in it where they kind of like, there's a scene in it where he's talking to one of the other doctors, and it kind of tells you what the whole movie's about, which I remember telling you about when we came out of it, and it does kind of like explain what's going on for me. But I didn't mind it because I felt like it wasn't it wasn't entirely clear, and a lot of people don't like the pace of it.
Yeah.
I know you hated the pace of it, but I thought I liked how it just kind of simmered along, and
The one caveat that I would put, which sort of touched on the pace of the film, is it's a film that requires a lot of input from the audience and a lot of thought. There's not much, I would say, like, there's not much action and stuff going on in the film. You have to be thinking consciously about what the significance is of what's happening. That, like, so for example, like, if you went in thinking it was a ghost film, there are, like I said, there's elements of horror in there where you've got, like, the bells ringing mysteriously or, like, knocking at the door,
Yeah.
but there aren't, like, jump scares throughout
No.
or moments of action throughout. It's very sort of mild undercurrents of dread rather than the sort of shocks.
it's spiky drama.
Yeah, that's the thing. Some people might feel watching it that it's just like quite slow and not a lot happening and can't quite work out what's going on. But I feel like you're getting more out of it because you're tying it into all of these
Well, the thing
ideas
is,
and
right,
can see what it's
The
about.
thing is, right, I went in not knowing anything about it, so I just took it as what it was. I didn't go in thinking, oh, this is a horror. I just went and thought, go and see Little Strangers tonight. Didn't know what it was about, and I just watched it. I didn't know it was meant to be a horror,
Yeah,
or people think it was a horror, but I haven't watched it. Definitely think it's not.
I didn't
But I
think.
think it's really good, and I think it builds really well, and performance is really great. Ruth Wilson, fantastic, and Domhnall Gleeson really good. And maybe you do need to look for more, but taking it on, like literally knowing nothing about it apart from the people who are in it
Yeah,
before going to it, I thought, oh, that might be good. I really enjoyed it, and I think if you've got the time and you're willing to sit through it,
yeah.
but
I would say
don't be expecting a horror movie.
I would say it's not for everyone, but if you're into the sort of period dramas that this is,
I wouldn't say I'm
You
into
would
those
like
period dramas though, but I liked this.
yeah, I would just say it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
It's not something I would recommend everyone wants. But if you want something that's sort of got more ideas to it than your regular sort of popcorn fare and a bit more going on under the surface,
Popcorn Fair sounds amazing. Can we go
You'd
to
enjoy
Popcorn
it.
Fair? Yeah, I really like Little Stranger, so I'd check it out. It's maybe not for everybody, but for me, it should be.
thanks. That was our review of Little Stranger. Thanks for listening. We'll be back with more reviews soon.